Well, good morning and welcome back to Apron Strings here in my kitchen. I am so glad y'all came to spend some time with me because today I'm going to make a casserole that I've been making since I married in 1970. My sister-in-law Irma shared the basic recipe with me all those years ago when I was a new bride, and she'd been married a couple of years longer than me. So I was glad to get something new that Mama didn't cook that I could bring into my married life. So today I'm going to make a beef and noodle casserole, and it's very easy to do. You take a big onion, and mine came to about 1 3/4 cups because I had a great big old onion, and I chopped it, and then I've chopped a little bit of red and green bell pepper. It's about 3/4 cup total. It's to taste. If y'all don't like it, don't put it in there. It makes it pretty, but it's according to what you really like. So what you do is you saute your onions down until they're soft, and your bell peppers, and I have browned off my hamburger meat already in a skillet, and I'll show you. And I seasoned it with just some salt and coarse ground black pepper. Then I'm going to combine this together, and then we're going to add into that a can of cream of mushroom soup, a can of whole kernel corn drained, and a can of English peas. And again, if y'all don't like the little green peas, leave them out. You could even put cut green beans in it if you wanted something green, or just omit it. It's still good. And I add a can of diced tomatoes with green chilies in it. Now what I did, and what I often do to add flavor, because you're going to boil a large bag of medium egg noodles, I'll drain my vegetables and I put that juice into the water that I boil my egg noodles in, and that adds some extra flavor, because that's the only chance you're going to get to infuse some flavor into that pasta is while you're cooking it. So I'll add a little onion and garlic powder to that water, and the juice from my vegetables, and a little bit of salt, and I'll boil my egg noodles and drain them, and then you put it all together. But right now we're gonna put our bell peppers and onions in the skillet and just cook them down until they get tender. And I will bring the camera over there, show y'all how I'm doing it. Okay, you can see that I have browned my hamburger off already, and I'm just gonna put my onions into this skillet and let them get tender. And I chopped them fairly small on the power shelf, and I made them fairly small. And I'm just going to give this a stir and let it cook till it's tender. And this is also going to have some cheddar cheese in it, and I'm probably going to add a brick of cream cheese just to make it creamier. And then I'm going to add my peas and my corn to my meat and toss it. First of all, I'll put the cream of mushroom soup in. That way you don't mash your English peas while you're mixing them in. So I'll add my cream of mushroom soup to the meat, and probably some cream cheese just for creaminess. And then I'll add the tomatoes to that, then I combine it all. But I'll show y'all step by step what I'm doing. So I'll bring you back in just a little bit. Okay, I've added my cream cheese in, and I'm just going to gently toss it with my stove set to low till it melts into my meat. That's about 1.5 pounds of browned ground beef. And then I'll add my cream of mushroom soup and mix that well. Then I'll add the tomatoes, but I'll bring y'all back. Okay, I've added in my onion and garlic powder. I put 2 tablespoons of onion powder and a heaping teaspoon of garlic powder. And I know I've got a lot of onion in here, but it doesn't matter. I always add onion and garlic powder to everything savory that I cook. It just deepens your flavors. So I'm just going to give this a little stir to mix it up while I'm waiting on my noodle water to boil, where I can cook the noodles and add everything else to it. And I'll bring y'all back in just a little bit. Okay, the water has got a good rolling boil here for the noodles. And I'm just going to put them in, make sure they're all submerged under the water. And I'm just going to gently boil them for about 7 minutes. You don't want them mushy because they're going to be put into your casserole, and you want them to have a little bit of firmness left in them. So I'm going to let those cook for about 7 minutes. When it comes back up to a boil, I'll set the timer, and then I will strain them and we'll put the casserole all together. While my noodles are boiling, I'm going to go ahead and gently toss in my vegetables over here into the meat mixture. And as you can see, I'm just I'm being very gentle. I don't want to mash those green peas. Sometimes I'll just use frozen green peas. I don't have any today, and I don't boil them or anything. I just thaw them and put them in here, and the heat from the meat kind of blanch or cooks them a little bit. And they have a firmer texture than the ones that have been pressured in the cans like that. Okay, my noodles are done, and I'm going to put them into the pot, the skillet, and stir them around to get them all mixed in. And I've got a skillet full, don't I? So I'm just going to work these in. And when I get it all worked in, I'll get it in the casserole dish, and we'll top it with some cheese, and it'll be ready to go into the oven. And all you have to do is melt the cheese. Now, if you have this left over, and you want to change, add something to it, you can always add another can of the Rotel tomatoes or the tomatoes with the green chilies when you heat it up, to add some more moisture to it, and it just adds some extra flavor. I have in the past left them out the first time I made it, and then when I warmed it up, I would stir a can of those in it and heat it in the oven like I was cooking it for the first time. And it was put a little more cheese on the top, and it's like a second casserole, 2 for 1. So let me get this finished, and I'll be back and get it in the pan. Okay, I've got the casserole all in the 9 by 13, and I'm going to sprinkle the rest of my cheese on the top, and then I'm going to pop it in the oven. And when the cheese melts and it's bubbly, it's going to be done. We're going to have some of this for our supper. Now, I like to make this, and I like to serve it with smothered cabbage, or like the charro pinto beans, and I'm going to show y'all how I do those too. Or just serve this with a salad. When I was younger and I would have Tupperware and home interior parties, a lot of times I would make this and serve it to my guests, just a salad and the casserole, and of course some iced tea. And it was, and I like to do the garlic, the French bread, and make garlic bread to go with it. But it's just, it feeds a crowd, and it's filling, and it's yummy, and it's really easy to make. So let me get it in the oven, and we'll get the cheese melted and get it real bubbly, and then I'll come back and show y'all what it looks like. Okay, the casserole just came out of the oven. And see that some of the cheese browned a little bit. I'm fixing to dish some up and taste of it and see if it's as good as I think it always is. And I'll show y'all, and I'll be right back. Okay, y'all, here's the casserole all dished up and ready to taste and eat. And I've already tasted of it. It's absolutely so delicious and so cheesy and so flavorful. Y'all got to try this. It's really easy. So 1½ pounds of hamburger, a large onion, a half of a red and green bell pepper, 8 ounces of cream cheese, 1 can, a large, like the 15-ounce, whatever can, of whole kernel corn, can of English peas, a can of cream of mushroom soup, a can of diced tomatoes with green chilies, 1 package of medium egg noodles, 8-ounce block of cheddar cheese, 2 tablespoons of onion powder, 1½ teaspoons garlic powder, 1 tablespoon black pepper, teaspoon of salt, or to taste. I hope y'all make this. It's yummy, and let me tell you, it's very filling. So you probably, unless you're feeding a big crowd or a big family, you have some to freezer bank. We eat about half of it, and I divide the other half into 4 sections, and I vacuum seal it and freezer bank it. And then on days when I'm busy doing something, I can pull one out and make Troy a meal. So one of my go-tos for 49 years now, thanks to Irma for giving me the recipe many, many years ago. I've tweaked it a little bit, which I usually do that, but I wouldn't have had it if it hadn't have been for her. I hope y'all fix a good supper today for your family. Don't forget to turn those cell phones off and spend time with each other and build relationships and make memories. Give the good Lord praise and glory for what He's provided for you, and come back tomorrow for another good recipe.